Hello everyone and welcome to About Last Night. My name's EJ Moreno and this is the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night, but I did not see a movie last night. I actually saw a movie like 2 hours ago. What movie is it? It is Avengers Infinity War. Before I dive too much into this review, let me give you a little bit of a background about myself. I am a proud MCU hater. I have never been a big fan of like the movies. Ever since like the first Iron Man to about Black Panther, I've never really connected. To me, there's been more duds than there's been hits. This is a very different story. Infinity War is one of my favorite MCU movies of all time. If not, in my top 10 favorite superhero films ever. This is exactly what it needs to be. This movie is relentless, it holds nothing back, and leaves you shook by the end of it. So if you want to walk away with anything from this movie, know that Infinity War made a proud MCU hater question everything. Because I walked away from this feeling so many emotions. Infinity War pulls no punches. This is a relentless assault of the senses. Like, there is so much audio happening, so much visuals happening at you, so many emotions, so many like feelings you're gonna have. This movie holds nothing back and I am proud because the MCU is infamous for not going the full Monty for me. That meaning basically they never go that extra mile that I know they can and I know that's in them as filmmakers and as a brand. This is that extra mile. I have waited for an MCU movie like this for quite some time. Honestly, if they would like make me leave a MCU movie like I left Infinity War each and every time, I would be the biggest fan. Now, I don't always get that, but that will make like Infinity War very special for me for the rest of my life. This is probably maybe the turnaround for the brand I needed. This was such a dark movie and honestly, this holds nothing back that you are not ready for. Do I love this movie? No. Love is a strong word for me that I have a problem using in my personal life and within movies. But no, seriously, I really like this movie. It has a couple small little things that I'm like, cut some of those jokes out or maybe not give Star-Lord any jokes because oh my god, I'm so done with Star-Lord. Anyways, so there is like few little minor moments that I'm like, that could have been better, or oh, we could have fleshed that out a little bit more. And honestly, there is a lot of like pieces to this puzzle. A lot is happening and a lot is moving around. It gets a little like messy, but that mess is good because sometimes these MCU movies try so hard to be so perfect and so manufactured and like cookie cutter. This is how we make our movies, this is how we end our movies. Infinity War changes that cookie cutter mold and they're like, no. We're avoiding what you think we're gonna do, and we're gonna do this. What do I need to praise about this movie? What I can praise is the dark, grim tone it takes. A lot of people complain when another brand does these dark, grim movies. I will say Infinity War does not go DC dark, but it goes darker than it ever has before. Comparably, I will give this tone to like the X-Men movies. The X-Men movies have always been a little light and fun, but they've had that grim darkness within inside of them. This is what Infinity War reminds me of. It's still gonna be that family-friendly outing, but this is gonna be like after you leave this movie, the family might be a little shook because I know I was. So I can imagine an 8-year-old leaving this movie and seeing some of the things that happen in this movie. They are going to like, maybe not have nightmares, but they're going to be walking away from this being like, everything I know is a lie, because everything you know is a lie after this movie. And I think that's going to be something intriguing to watch, is how that younger demographic feels about this movie. If I like it as a proud person who like does not love the MCU, what does that mean? Is it going to be like another Star Wars, or like where I finally like a movie so everyone else hates it? Don't do that again. I hope like the general consensus is that they love Infinity War because I'm in on the party. I like this movie for once. The darker tone of this movie is not the only thing I liked a lot. I actually really like all the fight scenes. There is a lot of them and there's a lot of different styles. You have those like one-on-one battles that I'm personally like a big fan of, especially one of them in the beginning where it's like a boxing match. That is one of my favorite fights and will remain probably one of my favorite MCU fights of all time. Even though it went really quick, I really liked it. Ooh, that snap. Interesting. But I actually really enjoyed all of the fight scenes. There are some fight scenes on Wakanda, there are some fight scenes on Thanos' home planet Titan. They're all really well done and they don't, to me, like pause the rest of the movie to do this fight scene. That is a major problem I had with Civil War. I loved all the intense like political drama of like Captain America Civil War, but then we got to the airport fight scene and we paused all of that great drama to do a fight scene that has no weight, no real meaning. Not in this movie. Infinity War's fight scenes, every one of them means something, every one of them has an impact, and actually delivers a shock and blow each fight. I'm very impressed that I left each fight scene in this being like, something just happened. Not just like a quick 1, 2, quip, we're gonna make a joke and then we're leaving. No, these are fight scenes that, a couple of them were interrupted by jokes. God damn that Star-Lord, but no, actually for the most part, they kept the tone very, very great, and actually like the tone went throughout these fights. Like I said, no obnoxious comedy in the fights, no like stupid gags, even like a movie like Black Panther. I love that big like South Korea fight scene, but then when she's like skateboarding with the door at the end, I'm like, now we're getting in cartoony territory. This movie never dips into cartoony, and actually keeps this very serious, dark tone throughout the fights, throughout the drama, and even the humor is a little darker than normal, and I appreciate that a lot. Since this is a spoiler-free review, I will not be talking about any of the characters that die, but there is character deaths, and they actually have some weight and meaning to it, which is a big problem I've had throughout the MCU since the start. Anytime someone dies, even a villain, you don't feel the weight or the importance of that moment. Not in this movie. Every time someone dies or an epic moment happens, you know it's important, you feel it, and I really appreciate that. To me, this is the Russo brothers' best outings as directors within the MCU. I liked Winter Soldier a lot, which will remain, I think, my favorite MCU movie. Well, I don't know, Infinity War might take that over, but we had great work in Winter Soldier. We had good work in Civil War, but now, the Russo brothers are like two children getting to play in a giant sandbox with all the best toys, and I appreciate that. This is something I think has been missing from a lot of the other, like, Avengers movies, or a lot of the other Marvel movies, is there's a lot of fun, but there's no childlike wonder to it. It hasn't been there since the first Avengers. As many problems I have with that first Avengers movie, that was the first time it felt like a kid having a great time behind the camera. But now it's like the Russo brothers are two kids with a great brain and a way to translate what they want from that imagination of a child to adult real-life filmmaking. Applause to the Russo brothers. I give them so much credit for dealing with that massive cast, with tying in 10 years of work from the MCU, and being the 19th film, yes, the 19th film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and somehow making everything fresh again. Applause to the Russo brothers, because this is going to be a cinematic achievement for the end all of time. If I'm going to point out one character I liked the most, it's Thanos. Like, I have been a big Thanos fan since I first found out about him. Reading about the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline, I loved his relationship with Death. Like in the comics, I love it. So I was worried how I will feel on screen with him. I was not let down because Thanos eats this movie up. Josh Brolin as the villainous Mad Titan Thanos is everything I've wanted from an MCU villain from a very long time. Like, Loki was fine, then he became an anti-hero. Hela was cool, didn't get a lot of screen time. Thanos is epic, he's nasty, he gets a lot of screen time, and does not hold anything back. Hell, he even has some good emotional moments that I felt. I understood why he was doing something. If every villain was like this, Marvel, we would never joke that there's an MCU villain problem. Keep it up, because a villain like this is what we need now. I love what Thanos does. His fight scenes are amazing, especially once he starts getting one or two of the stones. Woo, things get weird and there's some warped reality. Oh my god. There is a lot that I can't wait to dive into in my spoiler review, but we'll say non-spoiler. Watch out for some of those later Thanos fight scenes, like especially on Titan. You will be shook by some of the things he does. Now, I talked about all of these positives, so let me get into some of the negatives. I do think that MCU humor seeps into some of the scenes, and there's some very eye-rolly jokes, and there's some really out-of-place moments that I'm like, cut this out, you're doing good, oh, we had to do something like that. I guess so. So I will say minor complaint there, and some of the visual effects, while amazing as most of the things look, about 95% of the time it looks amazing. When those 5% stand out though, like some of the members in the Black Order, Thanos' gang of children basically, some of them don't look that great, some of them look good. They're hit and miss at how it works. But for the most part, the visual effects have improved since Black Panther, which that was my biggest issue with that movie. Black Panther had a strong story with strong characters, but the visuals were not great. this makes up for it by like tenfold. If I can go back and say sorry for my Black Panther review because of how great the visuals looked here, I would. So I'm gonna do an apology now. Sorry Marvel, you impressed. Maybe you were waiting for this movie to like finally give you some good visual effects, because there's not one, okay, maybe there's one or two moments of like green screen where I'm like, ooh, this is Thanos, who's a CGI character on a CGI background, looking a little flat, but that's really about it. Maybe 5% of the movie has those like little moments, but for the most part, that other 95% is almost breathtakingly beautiful. So yes, even one of my complaints end up turning into a positive. So there's not a lot to complain of, and that's rare for me, especially for an MCU movie. Before I get into too crazy of territory, I'm gonna have to cut this review short and kind of sum up all my feelings. Infinity War changed my view of the MCU almost 100%. If they can keep it up after Infinity War, I will be a new bandwagon fan and being like, ooh, I've been here the whole time. But no, seriously, I really like Infinity War. I think this movie does exactly what it should. It ends how it should. It begins how it should. This movie is honestly one of the MCU's best, and I personally don't know how they will ever top this, because this movie is almost untoppable. I know we felt that after like Avengers, and they're like, how will we ever go after this? No. Infinity War showed you there could be something better than Avengers, and oh boy, is it better. Like I said, I don't know how they're ever going to make a movie better than Infinity War, because this is going to be the peak of the MCU's performance forever. This, prove me wrong, but how will you make a movie better than Infinity War? That is it for my review of Avengers Infinity War. This was such a special moment for me as a MCU hater to turn around and feel the way I do. I cannot wait to dive into this with more details and some spoilers. So tune back for my spoiler review later on this week. If you did happen to enjoy this review, please give me a thumbs up. Also give me a comment with anything you want to know. I'm not going to spoil anything in the comments below, but if you want a non-spoiler question answered, let me know down in the comments below. Also, I would love your feedback. Ooh, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe, because I have a spoiler review coming out, and I feel like there's some more Infinity War videos coming out on my channel, because this was a movie that we will be talking about for quite some time. So thank you again for tuning into About Last Night. My name's EJ Moreno, and this has been such a great time.